I remember when I first saw Luc Besson's The Big Blue in the theater. I had seen movie previews, so I had some idea what the film was about, but not much more than what I saw on screen. I went with my friends to see it, and it was an experience to see it on the big screen. It's been a movie that's been with me ever since. I came across this magazine from 1973, Middle Class Fantasies. It's a collection of stories written and drawn by Jerry Lane. The story, The Frogman, is what enchanted me. The way the story opens is you see this diver in a cave. He wakes up from sleep. He fights a shark. And then the magic begins. He ascends to the surface and into the sky and onto the shore, and he follows a road not taken. He arrives at someone's house, and like a spectator in an aquarium, he begins to look inside, and who does he see but this woman? He goes towards her with his knife, but then something even more magical happens. A different kind of hunt ensues. They make love. No words are spoken. Everything is said in their eyes. But then this man arrives. It's her husband. He leaves, but you can tell that for her, something more has happened. It's an experience she hasn't had before. Everything is spoken in her eyes, and he turns back. Midway through the magazine, we get the rest of the story. A marina, the diver. A dolphin leaps into the air and joins him in the sky. And it's at this point that I thought of David Bowie's Heroes, which this magazine predates by a few years. If you know the lyrics to that song, you know what I'm referring to. They go back to Monterey, and this is where we learned that for about a year, the diver and the woman have been seeing each other. But when he arrives, he says, "You arrived in time, we're about to leave." And now the story changes. She says, "We're moving inland." They're leaving. Everything is said right there. But note that the diver does not try to convince her to stay with him. It's something that must come from her. Instead, we get rationalizations why she must go with her husband. They're going to Nebraska, and she realizes that the diver can't go that far inland. Better job opportunities. They already have a house in mind, the fabrics in mind. Plan to save enough money so they can travel. And in the meantime, the dolphins continues to play. And he sees that, and she sees him, and she sees the dolphin. The diver doesn't say anything. He helps her pack, helps her move. And she continues to rationalize why she must stay with her husband. And then a couple shows up because they want to buy the house. And the more she talks, rationalizes, he disappears, much to her astonishment. And that's where the story ends. With Rita Hayworth on the cover of the film Gilda. It's then until 3 years later that we get the conclusion to the story. And now something different has happened. The story's told from her point of view. She's narrating it. She's talking to somebody. And she says, I haven't seen him since my ex-husband and I had lived in Monterey 3 years ago. It's 1976. As far as I can tell, he came from the sea, so she's now divorced. And she begins to remember. And she remembers the last time she saw him, when he disappeared in midair. And she says, 8 months ago, my husband and I were finally divorced. And she admits she's been with other men, but it hasn't been the same. She wants to go back to that moment in Monterey. My desire to return is becoming uncontrollable. And now we know who she's talking to, her psychiatrist, who tells her it's pointless to go back. It's an hallucination. And when we think about it, in reality, the past is in another country. They do things differently there. And she says, are you sure? He goes, of course it is. Make an appointment for next week. She thanks him, but she doesn't make the appointment. Instead, she goes to the bus stop and buys a one-way ticket back to Monterey. To the past. And on the way there, on the bus, she's beginning to wonder, was it all just an hallucination? Did I just imagine everything? And now we go to 1972, 9 months before she met him, and something magical was happening in the world. She's with her husband, and they see this boulder with a castle. He thinks it's a Dali or an Escher, but she immediately recognizes a Magritte painting. As they're watching the news, they realize that these things are happening around the world. A rose that fills up an entire room. A train coming out of a fireplace. And then the diver appears in the story. He rises from the water, goes to the heavens. She sees him, not knowing that he will be, well, not knowing. And what does he do? He severs the rope, which is almost like cutting the rope, the umbilical cord between reality and dreams, and everything collapses. She's astonished. He's gone. He's not. He just wants another drink. A man with a failure of imagination, and possibly romance, and eroticism. Now we're in the present, 1976. She's at a motel in Monterey. And she's beginning to wonder, yes, maybe it was an hallucination. It's been weeks. She goes back to her room, and who does she see? The diver. And she's astonished. And now she finally says, this time, I want to go with you. But he says, are you sure? I'm sure. And in the background you see Rita Hayworth from Gilda. And then he shares the same breath with her, the same oxygen tank. And we see them, and it looks like a reflection, or we see them in this bubble, this air bubble, but in fact, they are in the air bubble. Many of them. Now they can be heroes. and not just for one day. The Frogman, Middle Class Fantasies. Stories. Where would we be without them? Thank you for viewing.